Hey guys, I'm Daisho and I'm here bringing you a Magic draft. And this is actually a pretty interesting pick. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping in a little bit late, but I'm really not sure what to take over a Graveblade, Marauder, or Cruel Revival. There's also Void Mage and Anchor. I'm going to just take the Cruel Revival. I haven't really played too much with it, so I'm not sure if it's even... Actually, I'm going to take Graveblade Marauder. I think Marauder is a little bit better, but it's kind of the choice between the really efficient creature and the less efficient but still pretty solid removal. And in this case, I think I'll be pretty happy taking the more efficient creature. I think it's just far more efficient. So this is also a really tough choice. Do I take the War Oracle, Wild Instincts, or the Stalwart Aven? Hold on, let me grab this little preview thing. Sorry about that. But this is actually really another really hard pick. So War Oracle and Stalwart Aven, I guess I should probably be able to know which one. That is just a giant War Oracle. War Oracle or Stalwart Aven, I probably should be able to know which one I think is a better card, but I don't know. I don't really have that pegged, and then I could also just take Wild Instincts if I don't really want to move into a white card, and I think it's kind of on par with those two. I'll take War Oracle. If I was in blue already, then I probably wouldn't be taking the 4-drop over the 3-drop. But I think since I'm in black, and I mean black, sometimes you'll pick up the undead servants, but you really don't get too many quality 4-drops out of black, so you can usually build yourself a nice little white, or you can prioritize 4-drops pretty reasonably. So in this pack, there's a bunch of pretty mid-rangey cards, like there's Llanowar Empath, which is okay, and Evolutionary Leap, Read the Bones. Titan Strength is fine, Aeronaut is fine. I'm just going to take Read the Bones. It could be the best card in the pack. Leap might be a little bit better. I'm not really sure if this card is very good. It's hard to kind of judge, and usually just having a Sacrifice Outlet is a lot better than it seems, and this one is pretty much guaranteed to get you another creature, so you don't want to be just playing your creatures and sacking them and playing them and sacking them, but it's sometimes nice to have a built-in sack outlet. It does cost a mana, but it's only 1 green, so it's not really that hard to leave up. But basically, it means that whenever your opponent is trying to kill one of your creatures, you're just going to be able to get another one out of it, so it's a pretty good deal. Works really well with like Llanowar Empath and Elvish Visionary, cards that already replace themselves, but anyway, I think Read the Bones off the bat is a little bit of a better choice. And this is an interesting pack because there are some decent green signals, with the last pack having a couple of green cards in it, and then this pack having Sky Snare Spider, Llanowar Empath, and Timberpack Wolf. But at the same time, I think that Suppression Bounds is the best card in the pack, and I'm already in white, so I should for sure take it, but definitely pick up on the fact that there's some green. Because I'm shipping this green, it means that my neighbor is going to get even more of a sense that green is open, and if they're a competent and strong drafter, then they'll kind of move in on it. That doesn't necessarily mean that I shouldn't start taking green cards. I could still start taking green cards, and if my neighbor doesn't move in on it and it goes a couple of packs down the road, then I can still get a really strong pack 2. And if not, then that means that I'll still get a really good pack 3 if nobody else moves into green. So I'm going to take the suppression mods, but I'm definitely going to be wary of what else could be in the pack. That being said, I just picked up a suppression bonds, and there's a Blightcaster in the pack. There isn't really a green card that I want to take. There's a Sylvan Messenger. Definitely not a white card. I'm not all in on the Crone Jailers. Undead Servant is interesting to note, but it's not something that I'll be picking up 5th pick. And yeah, I mean, if I can get Blightcaster with a couple more enchantments, then I can build the enchantment deck. The enchantment deck it tends to be kind of more of a trap than actually a good deck. But if you're getting 5th pick Blightcasters in pack 1, then that means that people to my right might not be doing it. I don't know, they definitely could be still playing cards like that. Anyway, take a Guardians of Meletis. There's no black or white cards, but it's not concerning to me because there's really like 1.5 playable cards, the 1 being Titan Strength, half being Maritime Guard, which is a fine card, but it's nothing to really be excited about. So I think Guardians of Meletis is going to be the pick there. This is kind of a crazy pack. There is a Hitchclaw Recluse in green. Seismic Elemental as by far the best card in the pack, and just very shocking to me that it would go 7th in pack 1 pretty much ever. There's an Automaton, which is more likely to make my deck than Seismic Elemental, but I'm a little bit tempted to just pick up on the Signal and see, because I mean, I definitely don't know exactly what colors I could be, and I could just be in white-red. I mean, I definitely have a lot of options open to me. And then there's also a Macabre Walls, which wouldn't be a horrible card in a black deck, but especially if I pick up some Oromancers, you can get some really cool little chains going. But I'm going to take the Seismic Elemental, and we'll see if this is more of a fluke or what's actually going to be the rule. So Celestial Flare here is pretty safe pick. There's a Dragon Fodder for the red. There's a couple of blue cards. We really haven't seen much blue, though, so I'm not too concerned. Celestial Flare is the best card in the pack, though. Maybe Goliath, I don't know. Alright, so this is the wheel. We don't see much here. There's a Sigil of Valor. I don't think it'll be a very aggressive deck, so I'll just be happy enough to pick up this Enlightened Ascetic. If I do end up in the black-white deck, it'll be a nice addition. I could take Chandra's Fury if I want to kind of hedge towards being red. Well, that's a really late Watercourser. I don't think that there's really any way that I end up as a Thornbow Archer deck from here. And I mean, I guess that there is some way that I could end up in a red-black deck. I saw a 4th pick Suppression Bonds, but I didn't see much white after that. I guess I saw the 7th pick Celestial Flare, so maybe I did see enough white. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe this Watercourser is kind of just like a symptom of how the draft is going, and not really a signal. It kind of just something like an anomaly. Sure, whatever. There was a couple extra blue cards in the pack. Somebody doesn't value it as highly as other people, and then Watercourser ends up going really late, but it doesn't necessarily mean that blue is open. So yeah, I mean, after the first pack, I've got a decent little core here. It's not too much, and I didn't see a lot of late cards coming, and I didn't pick up anything on the wheel. So overall, I'd say that this draft hasn't really started too well for me, but it doesn't mean that it can't go in nice places from here. Part of the fact that I didn't really pass much white and I didn't see too much coming from me means that there could be a good chance that white is underdrafted at the table, and I'll have but somebody to my right is drafting it. So I don't know. It's a little weird that Celestial Flare came so late. Anyway. Suppression Bonds is a pretty easy pick here. There's some decent cards in Ravaging Blaze and Gaia's Revenge. Firefiend, Farika's Disciple are all good cards, but Suppression Bonds is by far the best card in the pack, and I'm already in white, and I'm already in white enchantment, so there's really just no way I would ever not take that. It's a pretty ideal card to open. Same note, I'm happy to pick up a nice black card. So I think both the first 2 packs had Undead Servants in them, which is interesting to note. The other Undead Servant didn't come back, and I already have a couple of 4s, so probably not really going to be concerned about that, but it's just, I think keeping track of how many of these Collect 'em All cards is really important, and something that everybody should be focused on when they're drafting this format. Alright, so Irosis Champion's a great card, but Relic Seeker's not bad either. I already have a Veteran Sidearm that I could play, theoretically. Debridge Shaman isn't bad. Probably wouldn't want to read the bones, and I already got one, so that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to pick up Relic Seeker. I think that card's going to be good in my deck, as long as I end up in white in the end, which it looks like I will. I guess I could have considered taking the Irosis Champion. I just have such a good option in Relic Seeker that it wasn't really worth considering. Maybe instead of the Cruel Revival, but I think Cruel Revival is the best card in that pack anyway. Alright, so I have the option between War Oracle, Shambling Ghoul, and Sigil of Valor, and to some lesser extent, War Oracle. I mean, there's a very good chance that this deck is just aggressive and is not playing these 2 cards. For now, we'll keep them in, but if that's the case, then something like Sigil of Valor might be good. I'm really not sure between War Oracle and but also the thing about taking out the Blightcaster means that I have my 4-drop slot open up a little bit, because I mean these cards, these suppression bonds, while they can be played on turn 4, most of the time they'll be played out here as a later drop. So it's not really too concerning that I'm stacking up the 4s. I'd rather not, but I think that War Oracle is enough better than Sigil of Valor or Shambling Ghoul that I am going to be happy to pick it up here. But, I mean, just the fact that I've got 2 War Oracles, wow, another Suppression Bonds. I'm in. The fact that I've got 2 War Oracles already means that something like 2 War Oracles plus Relic Seeker means it's something like Sigil of Valor, whereas I didn't really think that it was very good at all in the first pack. It should be a lot better in my deck, because it plays well with War Oracles to get a very big life-linking threat, which is really nice, and also that they're incentivized to block so it doesn't get Renown, and then Relic Seeker obviously to just go and find it. So I'll probably play a Veteran Sidearm in this deck. I mean, I'm happy to play a Veteran Sidearm in most decks, so I should for sure be happy to do it here. But anyway, I mean, I've got 3 Suppression Bonds, so there's no way that I'm letting a Blightcaster go by. Oromancer isn't really as useful. If I end up with some sort of self-mill, then it's a little bit better, but you don't really get too much self-mill in just black unless you're playing Return Centaur, and I am not going to be playing Return Centaur with all the 4-drops that I have in this deck. Speaking of Return Centaur, Grasp of the Hieromancer is something that I'm looking to pick up at some point in this draft, but definitely Stalwart Haven right here. Very happy to be picking up a good 3-drop. We don't really have much in the way of early creatures. We've got a Relic Seeker and a Graveblade Marauder. Guardians of Meletis hopefully won't make the cut in the end, so we got a lot of work to do in terms of picking up the right cards. I'm going to take a Malakir Coldblade. It doesn't seem very good in this deck, but I think it'll be a little bit better than Macabre Waltz. The reason why I don't think it's very good is because if you look at our removal, it's a bunch of suppression bonds, so it doesn't really get the job done in terms of... Now that I'm looking at this pack... Oh, Skyraker Giant Firefield Elemental is more 4-drops, but I mean, if I'm not in black, that's not too big of a loss. I lose, well, it is a pretty big loss. I should probably hate one of these red cards. I don't need a second Veteran Sidearm. I'll take the Enchrone Jailer for the sideboard. You never know if I'm playing against a big green deck, then I might want it. Alright, well, I mean, as much as I don't think this is a Thornbow Archer deck, it looks more like a Thornbow Archer deck than a Revenant deck. Again, my opponent's creatures aren't dying. I've got suppression bonds. They're just going to be chilling on the battlefield. It's also not a Kytheon's Tactics deck, so I'll take the Thornbow Archer, but I don't think it's going to make the deck. I'll hate draft this Titan Strength instead of the Cobble Brute. Sigil of Valor made it back, so that's already going to replace the Veteran Sidearm most likely. I mean, there is some outside chance that I run both, but yeah, I mean, going into the next pack, we're not full on removal. We could be playing more, but what I want to be doing is I want to be drafting early creatures that I can play on turn 2 and turns 2 and 3, ideally. That being said, I'm not going to complain if I pick up a Reef Soul. There's really not much in this pack for me. There's a Necrotic Summons, which again isn't actually that good because I don't have too many spells. I have a lot of I've got 3 enchantments, so it's kind of going in different directions there. But yeah, Reef Soul is a really, really strong card. I'm actually just going to drop it here because it helps me out in terms of just playing on curve. So this is an interesting pack. Here's the Anointer of Champions, which is a very aggressive card, but it's kind of looking like my deck is not going to be that aggressive. So I'm going to pick up another Suppression Bonds because you really can't get too many of these guys. It's just a very, very strong card. I could take another Read the Bones, but I don't really need that. I've got a lot of card advantage in this deck already with the Suppression Bonds plus the Blightcasters. So yeah, I mean, I could really use a Blood Curse Knight or 3 in this deck. It's definitely the card that I'm probably most hoping to see. Also, Topin Freeblades would be nice. But yeah, I really do need some early spells and interaction and that kind of thing. So I could take, I got a couple options. I could take either Way to the Underworld or Shadows of the Past. I'm going with Shadows of the Past. I only got 9 creatures in the deck so far, but I just think that this card has a bigger chance of making my deck than Weight of the Underworld does, and a bigger chance of having a strong impact on the deck. Because I might not have enough creatures to actually break through and win the game. So, yeah, it's definitely looking like a slow defensive grind amount kind of deck. Especially picking up another Reef Soul here over Anointed Champions again. There's a Soul Blade Djinn in this pack, but yeah, there was also a Thopter Spy Network a couple of picks ago, so there definitely was an option for me to be a blue drafter, but that's just because there were a bunch of strong blue rares opened. Hey, my boy showed up. Yeah, I'm definitely not playing the Sigil of Valor because I only have 9 creatures in this deck. I'm not going to be attacking very often. So Guardians of Meletis or Fleshbag Marauder. I'm going to take the Fleshbag Marauder. I have the Malakir Coldblade and Shadows of the Past, so something like Fleshbag Marauder, which is a creature that enters the battlefield and then immediately dies, is something that I'm in the market for, even though I'm also in the market for just early creatures that I can drop and lead to victory. So yeah, here's what a 7th pick Claustrophobia. That's a little bit insane, but I'm happy enough grabbing a Guardians of Meletis here. I don't really want Amperant Tactician. That's not exactly what my deck is planning on doing. Alright, so this is actually a pretty interesting choice. Do I take the Oromancer in a deck that only has Suppression Bonds? So basically it'll only be valuable if my opponent kills the Suppression Bonds or the creature that it's on? Or do I take Charging Griffin, which can sort of pressure my opponent's life total, but it doesn't really go with the rest of the plan of the deck? There also is a possibility of tabling away to the Underworld. I have no way of milling myself, so yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Charging Griffin here. Well, I have a lot of 4-drops, even though my curve doesn't really look like this. It could be bad to just get stacked up on 4s. And if I table the Way to the Underworld, then this is going to be much better for me. So I'll just take the Heavy Infantry as a big enough creature. Yoked Ox, probably making the main deck here, actually. How many Titan Strengths do I have in my sideboard? I'll take another. Alright, more Yoked Ox. And I think this is where the Way to the Underworld would be. But I don't think it's gonna make its way back. It just seems unlikely. Kythian's Tactics and a Demolish. So yeah, we didn't table the Way to the Underworld. Probably Oromancer is not gonna make the deck. I'll bring it in if my opponent's in white and or green. I didn't see too many Enlightened Ascetics going around or Caustic Caterpillars, but I wasn't focusing enough on those, so can't really be sure. But let's see what we got here. So I think I want to play one of these Yoked Oxen. Probably one Guardians of Meletis, because I don't think either of those cards are very good. I don't really want to be playing Veteran Sidearm. Very few of my creatures are really benefiting from it. Actually, now that I think it, I mean, Relic Seeker definitely plays well with it. It's nice to put on like a Yoked Ox to stop them from attacking. It's nice to put on a Stalwart Haven to start getting in. Graveblade Marauder just allows him to block more things. This thing has lifelink, this thing has lifelink, this thing has lifelink, and even these guys, turning them into 3/4s is really valuable. So Veteran Sidearm is not necessarily just an auto cut. Something like Healing Hands might not be bad in this deck. I've got, I mean, I feel like there are going to be games where I'm just going to be behind on tempo. Although I do already have a few ways to gain some life, so I don't think I'm going to worry about that. Okay, I'll start the Malakir Coldblade just as a way to get pretty big. I ended up picking up 2 Reeve Souls. I have a Celestial Flare and a Cruel Revival, so I do have some removal, plus some of my creatures can trade and stuff like that. I don't expect this guy to get huge, but we'll see. And Sigil of Valor probably wouldn't be too bad in this deck. Honestly, it might just be better than the Sidearm. I'm thinking of kind of a take out Malakir Coldblade, bring in Guardians of Meletis, take out Veteran Sidearm, bring in Sigil of Valor. And then this kind of gives me a really interesting little setup. If I have all these, well, maybe I don't want Guardians of Meletis, I'd rather just have another Yoked Ox. But yeah, I mean, basically what this does is it allows me to have a game where I expect it to go long and get stalled out, and then I can just drop Sigil of Valor and have it be my win condition. I may just need Shadows of the Past, and that might be good enough, but... So this is pretty interesting. I'm not really sure about this deck. Valakir Coldblade also works with Fleshbag Marauder. I mean, I also could just drop the Sigil of Valor and play Healing Hands instead. And Healing Hands, I mean, allows me to sort of play another land, which I don't really want to do. I don't want to cut a land either, so... Yeah, so Healing Hands will allow me to accelerate into getting to Suppression Bonds or Blank Eye. This deck looks pretty bad. It really doesn't have too much going for it. It's got a bunch of middling cards, nothing extremely powerful, and some removal. I don't expect to do very well with this deck, but it's kind of where I ended up. I'm not sure where I should have differed, probably taking the Blightcaster and trying to move in on that, but I mean, honestly, I did get 4 Suppression Bonds. Maybe I should have just been blue-white. Or white-red. Could have definitely been white-red. But, I mean, I didn't really see any of the white 2-drops, so I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. Let's add some basic lands and get this show on the road. So, 10-7. I think I want to be 9-8. Yeah, I've got 2 more white cards plus 2 1-drops. Maybe I do want to just be 10-7. I don't have anything that costs double black. All right, let's do 10-7. Let's run it. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the first round, but yeah, we'll see how this does. All right, well, I guess I don't really have to pause this video because I'm about to start the next round. So welcome back from nowhere. You didn't miss me. I don't like this beginning of the round counter. I know that it doesn't go all the way down to 0, or at least I hope that. Okay. All right, won the die roll. That's sweet. Play first. Always play first in this format. This is a sweet hand. I mean, I have everything that I need. I've got both colors. I've got double white. I have removal for an early 2-drop. I have a way to win the game eventually. And I have value generating plays in Blightcaster plus Suppression Bonds. So absolutely, positively easy keep. And playing our Sigil of Valor deck. This is tailor-made for Sigil of Valor. No real reason to show my opponent that I'm on black. It might change his opinion on what 2-drop to lead on. He might, I don't know. It's very unlikely to change any decisions for my opponent. So if he plays like a token free, okay, he's not in white. Fetid Imp. That's perfectly acceptable for me. It means that I can save the Reeve Soul, even though I have a nice target in trading a 2-mana card for a 2-mana card. I can just play my Blightcaster, Suppression Bond, something, and at worst I'll take 3 damage from the Imp. Okay, I guess it is even worse than the worst case scenario because I'll probably take like 5 damage from it. Alright, so my opponent's in green-black. Ooh. War Oracle is an interesting one. So if I play War Oracle, that kind of makes my opponent want to hold back with this. And if they don't, then I might be able to like Reeve Soul something and get in a nice hit. So yeah, I'm gonna play the War Oracle here over the Blightcaster. My opponent's also about to hit 4 mana, which in this format there really usually isn't too much to punish you in a color like green-black in terms of a big creature that I'll want to Suppression Bonds right away. So yeah, hopefully I'll draw a land so that I can play Blightcaster and equip the Sigil of Valor and get the kind of exalted bonus of getting a +1/+1 when it attacks alone. Alright, so it looks like he's going on the Undead Servant plan. And he'll chip in for 1. This is kind of always an interesting little game. Is this is a card that he wants to die, but so I want to use a removal spell like Suppression Bonds to stop it. Why would he not attack? Alright, anyway, I'm playing this out. So So yeah, but if he has a way to sacrifice it later, then he gets extra value for sacrificing it, and he gets to get it in his grave, and he gets to get rid of the suppression bonds. Okay, so now he's just attacking with the Fetid Imp, which he didn't do last turn for some reason. There's a Hitchclaw Recluse. Alright, so he's got 2 mana up. So my options here are play Suppression Bonds on the Undead Servant and kill the Fetid Imp or the Yeva's Force Mage. If I kill the Yeva's Force Mage, I still can't really attack this turn. Or, I mean, I guess I could attack with both of these two, but... I mean, if he's not attacking with the Undead Servant, then maybe I just want to play the Stalwart Aven and equip up. Yeah, that seems probably like the play. There isn't anything that's really... maybe I want to equip here? Probably not. There isn't anything that's really in my face that I need to be suppression bondsing right now. And he did play a 3-drop and left 2 mana up, so he might have a Titanic Growth in hand. Okay, there's a Llanowar Empath. He did tap all of his green mana, so if he's got another land to play this turn, then he probably doesn't have Titanic Growth, because unless he already had the forest in hand. But yeah, I mean, basically what I'm trying to say here is that if he had Titanic Growth, then he would have left a forest up instead of a swamp up. In case, I mean, I guess he can't draw a land on this card. He gets a Nantuko Husk, so that's super annoying, but really good to see. I need to basically hold on to these suppression bonds until Nantuko Husk comes down, and I can suppression bonds the Husk, but not the other things. Okay, so here's the Undead Servant that I was expecting to attack earlier. Alright. I mean, it could, like, suppression bonds the Recluse, kill the Imp, then next turn suppression bonds the Husk. Then he still has the Undead Servant out there. I don't think I really care about Undead Servant. So if I suppression bonds the Recluse, kill the Imp. What if he has Titanic? I don't think he has Titanic Growth, because I think that he would have tapped his lands differently. Although it didn't matter because I was tapped out, so he may have had the force. He had the force in hand the whole time, so it may not have mattered. But by doing this play, then I can get a hit in with the Stalwart Aven. What does that really do for me? Nothing. I can also just get a hit in with the War Oracle. Leaving a swamp up for Fetid Imp, so he would have wanted to leave up a mana anyway. This is a really tough turn to play. I could also just Reave Soul this, attack with this. That doesn't do me any good because it'll just triple block. And I'll be able to trade for the Yeva's Force Mage and the Llanowar Empath, and that's not really that good for me. So again, I kind of want to I want to suppression bonds the Undead Servant, but I mean, I'll be able to gain life at some point, hopefully. Alright, I think I'm going to make this play. Well, I could also just Cruel Revival the Husk at end step, and then I still have 2 suppression bonds. Alright, let's do that. Because I drew the 5th land, so I'll have Cruel Revival mana up. And he also might not want to attack Undead Servant into 5 mana and 4 cards in hand. And he knows that they're 4 spells because I did leave. I did miss a land drop, so. Alright, so he immediately plays land, so that's 7. That's his 7th land, and I don't know how many spells he's got left in that hand of his. But yeah, I'm going to keep taking the Undead Servant damage. I am getting a little bit lower on life, which is kind of annoying, but it's not the end of the world or anything. Dead Bridge Shaman. Alright. And Nantuko Husk. Alright. Oh, this is destroy target non-zombie creature. Oh, that is so bad. I knew this was a zombie, I haven't actually played with this card too much. Alright, so, I guess I kill the Recluse. Hopefully I'll draw a land next turn or something that I don't mind discarding so I can get rid of the Shaman. So let's see, so what's my plan here? Maybe I just want to Cruel Revival this. Seems like a waste because I am going to be playing Suppression Bonds next turn, but I want to be playing Suppression... Let's see, so if I Cruel Revival this now and I play Suppression Bonds here and kill this, then I still can't attack with the War Oracle. But if I play Cruel Revival here, and yeah, actually getting this to a 2/4 is pretty good. So let me do that. So I'm going to play Cruel Revival here, and then I'm going to play Suppression Runs here, killing the Fetid Imp. I can get in with the Stalwart Aven and use up all my mana. I still have these two creatures back, so he can't really attack. He's down to one card in hand, and I don't even know if it's a spell. It might be a, it might be another land, because he's played a land every turn. Perfect. So I drew the land, so now... Oh, well that's going to happen next turn. Anyway. Okay, so we can go ahead and take out the Imp in the air. And I'm going to hold on to this land so I can throw it away to the Dead Bridge Shaman. It is getting a little dangerous. But my opponent can't really attack with other stuff because I have War Oracle out, so attacking with these two actually does him negative stuff. I guess he could draw a pump spell or a removal spell, in which case I am in pretty bad shape. I think I'm going to take it. I'll be dead to Titanic Growth, but this is really the last chance that he has to have it, and he doesn't have it. Alright, so he thought a little bit and then decided to do nothing. That's an interesting option. So I could Suppression Bonds this, killing this or this. Yeah, maybe I just Suppression Bonds this, kill this, and then attack with the War Oracle and gain 5 life. That sounds good to me. Yeah. I want to Suppression Bonds this over this because I don't mind losing the planes. I could also like just discard this. So I could Suppression Bonds this, kill this, Reave Soul this, and or not even. I mean, I could let him have the 2/4, and I could Reave Soul this and attack for 5 damage. Actually, get through this turn. Or, I mean, I also could just Suppression Bonds this. I don't want to do that. I want to Suppression Bonds this. And I think I'm going to kill this thing. I don't know. Maybe that was a bad play. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother killing Eva's Force Mage this turn. I'll just hold the planes in hand because I know that my opponent doesn't have a pump spell, or he would have just killed me last turn. So I don't have to worry about anything here. I get my guy renowned. I'm up to 9 life. My opponent could have another undead servant in hand, and that's what they were holding and thinking about playing or not playing last turn. But I think we definitely turned the corner here. I have a 2/4 Stalwart Aven to block the Deadbridge Shaman if he just wants to attack in to get me to discard a card. He doesn't have any good block on the War Oracle because I got to gain I got to gain a counter, so now he only has 5 power. I think that we kind of navigated that game well enough to turn it around. Oh, Unholy Hunger. Okay, that's fine. I have another one in hand. And he plays out a Plains, which is his last card in hand. It's weird that he played that out. So I can give. Let me actually think about this. So if I play the War Oracle and equip this guy up, then it'll become a 4/5. He could double block and trade both, but I think I'm okay with that. It's not like great for me, but it is fine. I mean, I could also... Nah, this is better. Because I don't have any more enchantments in my hand, so Blightcaster kind of did his job today. He sort of has to block here, but then he can't block this next turn. Oh, he's just going to take the 4. That's fine. Alright, I mean, that's a pretty good draw. I feel like this is probably the guy who got the Gaia's Revenge. I don't know why. Bottom, and reveals Evolutionary Leap. Oh god. The Evolutionary Leap Nantuko Husk deck against my Suppression Bonds deck. I see how this is. Alright, so I think here I'm just going to equip up my Stalwart Aven so that I can kill him next turn if he doesn't get a flyer. Because I know that he has to find a flyer or a reach creature. Yeah, this should be fine. Because he's got to get exactly a flyer or a reach creature. And I know he's drawing a Evolutionary Leap, so he can't get... he can't draw a spell or removal spell or anything like that. So first he's going to start with Undead Servant. And he finds a Vastwood Gorger. There's another Unholy Hunger and another Read the Bones. Oromancer's coming in, by the way. For sure. For sure, Oromancer. So he's got to keep going fishing here. And even if he finds a Hitchclaw Recluse, then I'm still okay because I have a Reeve Soul. And if he draws a Rabid Bloodsucker, I'm okay. So, there's another Undead Servant. That's not a surprise that he's got a couple of those. I mean, he's got to keep fishing, but I'm not really sure what he can find here. All he's doing is really showing me more cards. I probably should have written those down just so that I could remember them, but that's okay. I think I would have bottomed the Leap. I don't really know what's in his deck. He might have like a Spider, which would have been pretty good if he had gotten that off the Leap. Man, this card is good in his deck. Is it good enough that I want to bring in Enlightened Ascetic? Probably not. It is so good against me. This card is really just insane against me. But the thing is that one turn of having it is good enough. So it looks like he found what he needs, but since I have Reeve Soul anyway, it's not really going to cut it. But he does have 2 Fetid Imps. This guy's deck is really good, and it's going to be good against me no matter what I do. So I think I got kind of lucky. I drew a lot of really good cards, and he didn't have the right matchup for him. So as long as I attack with either 1 creature or 3 creatures, I'm pretty solid to win this game. Alright, got the first one. That was a really close one, but yeah, managed to do the things that are good for me. Alright, well, Malakir Coldblade's coming in, Ornamencer's coming in. What else? I mean, there's these. Actually, I kind of like Heavy Infantry. Fleshbag Marauder. It's pretty bad against this guy. I don't need the Yoked Oxes. And I guess the Guardian is fine. One Guardians. It's not great. I don't think I like Fleshbag against him. I don't really like Fleshbag in my deck. I definitely have thought of the anti-synergy with Suppression Bonds and Fleshbag in the past, but for whatever reason, escaped me for this draft. Alright, I think that this is where I want to be. My opponent did have a couple of 3-power creatures that make Yoked Ox not so bad, so maybe I just want him instead of Heavy Infantry. Maybe I just don't want Sigil of Valor. Oh, it was so good that game, but I don't think it'll be good most games. I feel like my opponent has enough removal, and instant speed removal too, that it won't be good. Alright, let's run this and see how it goes. I'm not too hopeful. I think that this is going to be a really tough matchup. It also does depend on if my opponent has a lot of good sideboard cards for me. If he's got some nice, solid... oh, I did take out... Oh, nice. I didn't even see that he commented. I did take out my only equipment, so my Relic Seeker is not going to be quite as good. But, I mean, this hand's fine. It's not... Oh my god, that is some bonds. I'm a little sad I didn't pick up any Totem Guide Heartbeast. That actually would have really fit into this deck. Pretty nicely. There's a Dwynen's Elite. If anything, this Relic Seeker is going to just hold off my opponent from attacking because he doesn't want to just get his guy removed and then he has to deal with a 3/3, plus I get to draw the Sigil, which I took out of the deck. A little bit awkward there, but alright, so he's got a Read the Bones. Not great for me. It means that he can't attack this turn, which is good for me. Alright, walls up. Pretty good draw. I get to actually do something on curve. I would have much rather had to Read the Bones like him, or drawn a Blightcaster so that I could start getting my Suppression Bonds on, because these cards are going to be a lot less valuable against his deck, so what I want to make sure that I do is try and get some value off of a Blightcaster if I can. So I'm going to hold on to these Suppression Bonds until I actually need to cast them. See what he's got here. Undead Servant. Freakus Disciple. That's pretty bad. That is pretty good, though. I'm very happy to trade these 2 cards. Gives me a nice little bit of a life pad advantage, and there's his white. I'm not sure what he's splashing white for. I didn't see any white cards, I don't believe. Sentinel of the Eternal Watch is really the most splashable card that comes to mind, and that sounds really scary, but... And it sounds like something that he would probably play in that deck. I just have... My deck is made up completely of War Oracles and Suppression Bonds. Those are the only 2 cards. Alright, so I'm looking for Blightcaster, I'm looking for Read the Bones. Shadows of the Past would be nice to get online pretty early. Even just the scrying ability. And he's got another Freaka's Disciple. Gonna hold this one in hand. Not much reason to cast it, and I know he's playing at least one Deadbridge Shaman, and I have reason to believe that he'll be playing multiples. There's the little imp. Little imp that could. And then Tuco Husk. Do I want to block this guy? Kind of do. I don't really have good ways to trade off, and if I don't block this turn, then I can't block later. So, trading 4 drops is fine. Alright, well now I can play out my land. Now I have double black, which could be useful if I want to play Shadows of the Past and activate it in the same turn. I'm not really at that point in the game yet. Now that I think about it, I kind of have... Well, I can actually just block the Nantuko Husk with my Guardians, because he has to sacrifice 2 creatures to get past it, and I'm okay if he does that, so... Though, if he's got another Undead Servant in hand, then it might just be trading Twinen's Elite for Guardians. That wouldn't be too good for me. No, he's shipping the team here. It's a little aggressive. I'm at 26 life. I'll block the Guardians because I don't think that's so bad for me if he sacrifices 2 things to it. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Just an empath. I mean, I guess my Relic Seeker can't attack past that, but... Totem Guide Harpbeast. Totem Guide Harpbeast was supposed to be playing for my team. Alright, so I think that we're kind of at the point where we need to bonds this guy. And playing out Stalwart Haven should be nice. Force him to keep back one of the imps. I'm not really sure why he didn't sacrifice this in response. I guess he has other ways to sacrifice it later, so that makes sense. Totem Guide Harpbeast. What can Totem Guide Harpbeast search up? I mean, I guess he's got a suppression bond somewhere? Alright. Well, here I'm just going to trade off. Take 2 damage. That's not a big deal. You could have a Weight of the Underworld, but I don't know, that doesn't sound worth it. Or like a... Oh, there's the Hitchclaw Recluse. Get in my way. And I have a Reeve Soul to take it out. Take 4 damage next turn, but I'm still at a healthy 18, and then that prevents the Servant and the Empath from attacking me down the road. So that should be nice. I know his last card is Totem Guide Harpbeast, and he can't really do anything with it next turn, so that's not too bad for me. And this leaves me with some time to draw into Read the Bones or Blightcaster or Shadows of the Past. It's very strange that he left the Fetid Imp back. I'm definitely not racing him here, so I really don't know what that's about. And suppression bonds, okay. Well, we definitely just have to pass the turn here. I mean, I could play a suppression bonds on this. So what's his likely play? He'll suppression bonds this and then attack with the team. So yeah, now that I think about it, I kind of do want to just suppression bonds this because as much as it's going to suck if he draws a sacrifice outlet, pretty soon I'm just going to lose the game. Whoa, he didn't play the suppression bonds. It's a little weird. Alright, I'll take 2. Oh my god. This hand is ridiculous. Oh, he's not using suppression bonds yet? Alright. I'm gonna Celestial Flare him here, because I feel like Celestial Flare is just gonna become sacrifice Deadbridge Shaman later, so. And if he gets rid of one of the imps, and that basically halves the clock for now. I'm really not sure why he's not. Yeah, so that was I think the right play, but basically me being able to trade Celestial Flare for a Heart Beast is a lot better than for Deadbridge Shaman at some point. So there's my land that I can discard to the Shaman. But he would have been able to do a lot of damage to me by getting rid of the Stalwart Aven. I get why he is holding on to his removal. He doesn't really need to use it yet. He is in a winning position and I need to act first, but I mean, man, if I draw Blightcaster, I am good to go. Alright. Well, we are running out of turns. 2 a turn isn't a ton of damage, but it's not nothing. Alright, there's a Cruel Revival, so I can take out one of the imps. Fortunately, I don't really have zombies in this deck, so it's really just a 1-for-1 removal spell. And it's even worse than that, because it can't kill Nantuko Husker Undead Servant. I need to. Alright, so he's thinking on my end step here. Decided not to do anything. Or I guess he was thinking of my main phase, and now he's deciding if he wants to do something in my end step. Which is definitely the correct procedural way to do that. Why is he down to 14 cards? Got a Read the Bones and a Totem Guide Heart Beast. Oh, and a couple, or just one Llanowar Empath to draw a card. I think I'd be dead if he had... I mean, I guess I wouldn't be dead because I could be using these suppression bonds, but I could have used one like 5 turns ago on a Fetid Imp, but I think that there's just so much upside for me holding off until I get a Blightcaster, and the idea that me having just 4 suppression bonds without getting any value off them on his creatures when my opponent has Evolutionary Leap as a card in their deck is really bad for me, because at some point my opponent's just going to drop Evolutionary Leap, sacrifice all the suppression bonds, and then I'm just going to lose. So unless I have a clock, then that really isn't an option for me. Could have also drawn Blood Curse Knight. That would have been a really good draw at some point. Yeah, I'm definitely going to bring an enlightened Ascetic, with the fact that he's got a Totem Guide Heart Beast, a Suppression Bonds, and a Evolutionary Leap, plus the fact that this game is going to go long, it's just going to happen, means that I'm pretty happy with that situation. Alright, there's a Yiva's Force Mage. That's going to go on a Fetid Imp that I'm going to get to kill. Nope, it's going on Llanowar Empath. That's fine. Oh, now the suppression bonds is coming down. Okay. Alright, so just do that. Cruel Revival here. It's unfortunate because this thing was just going to be useless anyway, but, you know. The annoying thing is that Shadows of the Past isn't even really a good draw here, because I don't have the creatures in the graveyard to activate it. But that being said, I can just block a Stalwart Aven Unfettered Imp, so it shouldn't be that bad. So with that draw, oh, actually, I can just Shadows of the Past at end step. If my opponent draws a pump spell, then I'm dead, but I'm willing to lose to a pump spell here. Alright, I wonder if my opponent did that calculation before they attacked. Let's see, we are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands, so I don't want to draw the next land yet. Yeah, that sounds good. Alright, well at least he's only got one of those. So I think I'm just going to kill this thing, because it presents the biggest clock. Sweet. Dude to block. I wish it were a cheaper dude. I wish it were just a Yoked-Ox, but, you know, can't have everything. Llanowar Empath. I mean, I've only seen 2 Undead Servants out of him. I don't know how many he has in the deck, but Macabre Waltz. Oh, that's bad. Alright, Heavy Infantry really wasn't a great draw, but it's kind of the best that I can do here, or one of the best things that I can do. Let's see. I guess he could get back Farika's Disciple. Man, Tuco Husk isn't in his graveyard. If that were in his graveyard, that would be very good for him. He could have put it there at some point instead of using Suppression Bonds, so. I didn't even look what he was targeting. Empath and Disciple. Man, Empath. I think I actually do want to land here so that I can play Suppression Bonds plus Shadows of the Past. Yeah. Unholy Hunger. That sucks. So now I'm dead. Unless he doesn't do it. He'll do it. So, I mean, I would have won this game. It turns out that I would have won this game if I had Suppression Bonds one of his creatures a long time ago, but I don't think that there's really any way that I can play around that. Alright, so we like Enlightened Ascetic for sure. A Crown Jailer might be a thing. Heavy Infantry, not too much. I mean, he's not horrible, but it's not something that I really need. I don't think I need the Cold Blade. I'll bring in the Crown Jailer instead, and we'll see how this goes. Still have plenty of time. Opponent has less time. Well, this hand could be worse. We've got 3 drops, and all I really need is 1 suppression bonds, and this hand becomes very good. Especially considering that I can replay. Oh my god. Let's see. Do I want to play the Marauder or the Blood Curse Knight? Probably the Marauder. Blood Curse Knight probably isn't getting in next turn. And I'd rather have this guy on the battlefield for longer. So that was not the removal spell that I wanted to draw, but it does match up well against this Hitchclaw Recluse. Alright, he's got a Farika's Disciple. And there we are with the suppression bonds. Alright, so here this is so sick. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so what would I rather do here? Would I rather suppression bonds? The Farika's? Well, yeah, he might have like a Caterpillar somewhere in his deck, so... Actually, I don't even need a suppression bonds anything yet. I could just Reeve Soul this and play this out, which is way better. No, I can't do that because I don't have 2 black sources. I also still am at 18, so I can just take another hit from this. So I can just play Blood Curse Knight, attack with both of these guys, and pass. And then if I draw another land, then I can play Suppression Bonds and Reeve Soul and kill 10,000 creatures next turn. But yeah, I mean, I'm still at a very high life total. I don't have to worry too much. Ooh, 5 mana Rock Maulers. Double Reeve Soul. All right, well, let's let him keep this thing around. Now we're in business. He didn't even block. He just took the Blightcaster damage too. Let's see, my opponent's at 8, so I can't quite kill him. Even if I draw a Swamp, I can't just do double Reeve Soul. Beat in. Or my opponent's at 9, I only have 8 power on board. Fetid Imp, sure. Terrible card. Alright, so he takes it, and I can just play this. Do I hold back in case of languish? Let's see. So next turn... No, I don't think I hold back because of languish. I haven't seen languish yet, and I've seen most of his deck. And I think that there could be a reasonable... I mean, all he has to do is play Fetid Imp and one other creature. No, he has to play Fetid Imp and two other creatures. Yeah, I probably should have held back. Even though this guy does give me a benefit for next turn. This was a really cool match. It was a long one. Alright, there's even Battle Priest, so definitely value. Alright, so just kill the Battle Priest, right? Actually, I don't even need to do anything, right? I don't even need to show him anything. I just tap this and I attack with everything. Alright, so managed to win that match. It was a close one, but did get there. So yeah, I'll see you guys in 2 minutes. Hey guys, back here for round number 2. And hopefully we play against another slow deck, because that was really fun. Just being able to grind the opponent out with Blightcasters and Shadows of the Past. Man, that Shadows of the Past really almost bailed me out. I'm still not sure that I played that game wrong by holding the extra 2 suppression bonds in hand. I think that just the inevitability that my opponent has with Evolutionary Leap or another Nantuko Husk is really bad for me. And there's a possibility that I should have played out one of them a little bit earlier, but I think the fact that I have 2 Read the Bones, one Read the Bones and 2 Blightcasters is a good enough reason for me to have kept that. So, pretty good hand here. Playing Shadows of the Past early on should be nice. I have a Reeve Soul and a Celestial Flare to activate it. Sigil of Valor is not great in this hand, admittedly, but yeah, definitely important to lead on planes there. It's not likely that I'll want to play this next turn, but it's not impossible, so... Very happy to drop Shadows of the Past on 2, especially with a bunch of removal in hand already. So I'm seeing Rogue's Passage and Veteran Sidearm. Not liking that. I really am not. Sphinx's Tutelage. This is a weird little concoction that my opponent's got going on here, but it does seem like a good concoction. He's also got 2 Veteran Sidearms in his deck. I mean, I know that those cards were going around late. Maybe he's just like mono blue. I really don't need to block this. I have 3 removal spells in hand and only 1 creature, so... Alright, Anchor to the Ether. You got it, buddy. So I could just kill this in case he's got another... Oh, he's blue-red. Molten Vortex. Uh-oh. Could kill this now. I think I'll play this out though, because even if he has like another bounce spell or something, he's not gonna have another put on top card. So yeah, I think it makes more sense to play this out here. I definitely should have equipped though. That was a mistake. I need to play a little bit slower here. Just because Sigil of Valor doesn't actually do anything for me yet doesn't mean that it will never. Alright, so he's going to have another land here, and then he'll be able to equip up the Towergeist. So I'll be able to just Reeve Soul the Towergeist, scry 1, get in with the War Oracle, and hopefully play another spell. If not, I'll still have Celestial Flare up. But yeah, I mean, I'll be able to get in with my Renowned War Oracle, turn into a 4/4. Opponent still could take it out with Molten Vortex at some point, but Not the end of the world. Wow. That is... I understand why my opponent had so much trouble with that decision, because that has got to be a rough one. Well, I don't actually need to Reeve Soul that. I may as well. Gonna want to kill the flyer anyway. And I get to scry one by doing so. Okay, so now I'm winning this race, which is good. Opponent's on 5 cards in hand, missed a land drop last turn. So, not 100% sure what to think about that. Definitely not sure where this is going, but let's attack. I have Celestial Flare as backup, so... Actually, I'm just going to Celestial Flare when my opponent blocks. I should have Reeve Souled, but... Yeah, I don't want to just... I mean, just any land will make me discard this. Not discard, lose that in combat. Yoked Ox seems very bad against the opponent that's playing Rogue's Passage. Okay, so he's going to turn to Frog plus discard a land. Oh, he obviously doesn't have a land. Alright, so I just need to draw 3 more creatures and then we're good to go. Oh, Pricklebore. I'll take this. I don't see why not. There's no reason to do so. Whatever. This is just a completely dead card. I mean, it's not completely dead, but... So, yeah, if he gives me the opportunity to block, I'll do so. Whirler Rogue. Uh-oh. This is a lot of damage. I only have 1 creature in my graveyard, so I'm not really going to be doing much racing here. I hope he chump blocks. That'd be great for me to get to scry. I mean, I can just draw 1. Dear God, this guy's all in. He's probably also got that Soulblade Djinn. I mean, he's for sure got it. This is going to be a rough matchup. Alright, so I'm just dead on board here. If I drew suppression bonds, then I might be able to have a chance to win this game. I could suppression bonds this, take out that. He's still got the flyers, but Alright, I'm dead. Well, there was a suppression bonds. It was one card too deep. Alright, yeesh. So, yoked oxen, get out of here. Enlightened ascetics, all of you get in here. All one of you. Veteran sidearm doesn't seem horrible. I might be forced to just play something like a Healing Hands. Ugh, this matchup seems so bad for me. I could bring in a Crow and Jailer. Alright. I mean, that was a pretty decent hand for me, and I still kind of got smashed. It's definitely a mulligan. This one's not great, but I'll run it. I am on the play. Oops, meant to lead with the planes. Probably not going to need to use the Celestial Flare on his 1-drop, but still should have led on the planes. Alright, so drawing another land would be nice, but I also need some action spells. I would actually most like to draw a Read the Bones here, but I'm kind of okay if he just trades a land for this. I'd prefer he didn't, but you never know. Oh, Fiery Impulse. My god. This guy is short on lands. This is why this card is a little bit untested in this format, at least in my opinion. I'm just not sure how good it is. There's an Exquisite Firecraft. Wow. Okay. I'll attack with a War Oracle to my opponent's team of veteran sidearms. This looks good for me. So again, he has to 2-for-1 himself, and he has to miss his 4th land drop. So both of those things are good for me. I am going to play the land out, but it's not great. I want to, if I draw like a Read the Bones and he plays something, then I want to be able to play Read the Bones plus Suppression Bonds. Gonna continue to beat down with 1 creature and be very scared if my opponent starts drawing lands. My god, this is bad. Especially if my opponent has 2 lands right now. If I'm my opponent, I don't even know if I play a land out, because you might just have to save up 2 lands to throw at the War Oracle. But alright, so take that out with Suppression Bonds. Okay, so we got a free game because of mulliganing. Really not sure how I win this game. Really not sure. Apart from getting extremely lucky like I did last game. Well, this is for sure a keep. It's not a good hand, but it is a keep. Drawing the land is nice. I mean, I guess it's not a bad hand. It just doesn't have anything to do until turn 4, which sucks. War Oracle is a decent enough draw. Ugh. It's not really that bad for me, to be honest. I mean, I'm still hitting my land drop. What did he do? Put a card on bottom. So he doesn't... Okay, he played another land this turn, and he did it right away, so it doesn't give me that much information. Healing Hands might turn out to be pretty good. So, I mean, if I do have a target for one of these suppression bonds next turn, then I'm going to kill the Thopter before killing the Artificer. I think that, even though it's a 1-2 fire instead of a 1-1, and it is relevant because he could do double blocks and stuff, I'd rather kill the only artifact. Now that he's played another artifact, I'm back to killing the Thopter. Okay, so... that's weird. So my opponent didn't equip Sigil of Valor and attack, which would have enabled him to get in for the same amount of damage. So he might have a Disperse or something like that. I think I'm just going to attack and then play Healing Hands. Well, that's a really good draw. I could use a Plains pretty badly here. I am on 10-7. Well, that's a great target for my good old suppression bonds. Okay, so with Blood Curse Knight in the mix, well, no, I actually want to have a suppression bonds out before I get Blood Curse Knight on there. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to suppression bonds this thing, Blightcaster this guy. So let me just briefly explain my reasoning. So I don't want to play Blood Curse Knight out when I don't have an enchantment on the battlefield because he can just snipe it off with Molten Vortex. That's pretty much it. I could have just played War Oracle this turn, but that doesn't do me any good. The only reason why I would want to play a 3-drop is because I could tap something with a Crone Jailer and play Blood Curse Knight in the same turn, so that's just a pretty solid turn. The reason why I equip up or why I kill the Thopter is twofold. So I get to make him use an extra mana for Sigil Valor to move it over. Plus, I also get to gain advantage against my opponent having Disperse later on to bounce the Aeronaut back to its hand, gain value by attacking. End step. Okay, so he just has 3 mana and nothing to do with it. And I can play Blood Curse Knight and Suppression Bonds, but I can't play Blood Curse Knight and War Oracle. So, yeah, I'm just going to attack first. Because he may do something like Turn to Frog and Vortex the Blightcaster. But I mean, I can still use a Crone Jailer, so it's not like it's a complete waste of my turn. Alright, so he just didn't do anything with his mana. It's a little weird. I don't really need to save the 2 damage with a Crone Jailer, so I'm just going to let this thing attack. And I'll tap whatever he's got at end step. Especially, I mean, he could just do nothing, and then I'm not in great shape if the plan is just to play a removal spell of sorts. But if the plan... yeah, so that's exactly what ended up happening. Alright. Well, now I can... Yeah, I definitely just took 2 damage that I didn't need to take, but I think that my reasoning and my my line of play wasn't too bad there. Still going to play out the swamp in case I draw Read the Bones, and want to play Suppression Bonds plus land plus something that I draw. It's a really weird way of tapping his mana. I guess he's just going to move it. No, he's not going to move it over. Okay, he is going to move it over. Alright, well, I think I... Nope. Since I have another one in hand, I think I want to just get value out of it, and this is just such a different example than the previous game, where, man, do I even actually attack with the Crone Jailer? Probably not, even though I will go up to 14 here. So this is a different example where I know that I want to get my Suppression Bonds value as soon as possible so that I can start actually attacking my opponent. Definitely a really strange deck that I'm playing against. Okay, so now he didn't even equip the Sigil of Valor anywhere. No, let's just tap this. Alright, won the match. That's pretty sweet. I could have just actually played out Shadows of the Past now that I think about it, but either way. Can't believe I won that one. Alright, I don't think that I think that my opponent was very favored, though I guess I don't really know the power level of my opponent's deck. I just saw some cards in Game 1 that were really strong and really hard for me to beat. But either way, I'll see you guys in the finals. Hey guys, IzDaisho here. Yeah, I'm going to keep this hand. It is just utterly incredible. Doesn't mean that I can't lose, but... Sure, we'll play Yoke Dox on turn 1 as well. Why not? How often do you expect to see Yoke Dox turn 1 in the finals of an 8-4? It's not like Yoke Doxes have helped my deck at all win any games of Magic, but it is in my deck. So, there is that. Water Courser. Well, that'll put a nice big stop sign in the way of my good old Relic Seeker. Relic Seeker getting in would actually be pretty good here to get the Sigil. Put Sigil on Blood Cursed Knight would be very nice. So what could my opponent have for 4 mana here? They could Disperse. There's just so much upside to doing this. Oh, it could be a bonded Krasis. Yeah, since this could be a bonded Krasis, I don't want to attack with Relic Seeker anyway. So I think I'd rather develop my board and get the War Oracle out there. So let's do that instead. Though if he had it, he would have done it last turn when he would have just passed on turn 3. I don't know, whatever. I guess it could just be like Bone to Ash, which would be horrible for me. He just didn't do anything. Alright. Well, I don't think I lost too much by that little detour. 1 claustrophobia means Enlightened Ascetic might come in. Because there might be more. I wouldn't bring it in for just 1 claustrophobia, but just because there could be more. This is an interesting decision. So, like, if I don't attack with Relic Seeker here, or if I attack with Relic Seeker here and he has Disperse, then he just gets to eat my guy. But I get the Disperse back. So basically he gets to trade, he gets to cash in Disperse for this Relic Seeker. But he could just cash in Disperse for this Water Courser. So, I mean, he gets to do it in a tempo positive way here, but I guess he could also just bounce this in a trade. Anyway. Yes, please. I will take this. Put it in my hand. Alright, opponent's up to 6 mana. Spider. Let's see. I can get +3, so... Oh, that's kind of hilarious. This card is so bad in this deck. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so I don't have enough mana to play both bonds. I think what I might do here... no, it's just bonds. This does give for each other creature, right? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I could have just attacked with this and hit for 6. But then my opponent just gets to hit me back, and there's no real point in doing that. I guess I could play the Fleshbag Marauder to get a War Oracle, or to just have a 3/1 on board. That's hilarious. So my opponent's going to chump block here anyway, so I think I'd rather just push through 3 damage, then gain some extra life. There's no real... I guess it could be a Might of the Masses here. Ugh. That's a little gross. Could have played around Might of the Masses by just equipping up Sigil and attacking with the Blood Curse Knight. Looks like I might not be able to just beat my opponent down here. But I mean, with me going up to 32 life and without my opponent having a significant advantage on board, I don't really see a way that I lose this game. So, probably should have thought about this before I did it, but I mean, I think if my opponent, well, I guess if he has another, yeah, I figured that was going to be the case, but if my opponent had another, let me think. If my opponent had another Might of the Masses, then that could have been bad for me because I would have just traded probably with the Elvish Visionary. Yeah, I would have just traded with the Elvish Visionary. So my opponent's in green, which means that they have access to Conclave Naturalist potentially if they got it early, because that card almost always goes within the first 3 picks, but definitely Caustic Caterpillar out of the sideboard. I don't think that I'm going to bring in Oromancer in the dark against Caustic Caterpillar. This isn't that good for my opponent. It's not horrible or anything, but it's a lot. I mean, I'm at 41 life, so it's not like my opponent can really attack me for a lot of damage, and they're out of cards in hand, so basically just have to chump block next turn. Probably going to equip here and hit me for 9, but still. Actually, yeah. Oh, why not equip? Seems bad. Oh, well. We have enough suppression bonds to get there. That is not a question. Alright, so cards that are really bad in this matchup are going to be the Yoked Oxren, Guardians of Meletis, Fleshbag Marauder, which never should have been in the deck to begin with. Cards that I could consider bringing in. Some of these. Perhaps this. Some of these. So I need to bring in 4 cards here. I don't think I really want the Veteran's Sidearm. Alright, so there was one Claustrophobia, maybe another. I don't think I need to bring this in just yet. Alright, so do we want to... I think I like Healing Hands in this matchup to stabilize against a deck with flyers in it. I really don't expect much combat to be going on, so I don't like the Cold Blade too much. So either the Oromancer, in case he's playing some bounce, which he probably, I mean, he's probably got a Separate Void Mage in there somewhere, or the Enlightened Ascetic. I think I'll play the Void Mage and Heavy Infantry. I don't love the deck or this build, but anyway, there's no way that I'm actually gonna engage my opponent and tell them how many of a specific card I have in my deck. I'll just never do that. So this hand's pretty bad. I could still keep it. I need to draw a swamp by like turn 5, so I could play Reeve Soul at some point. I think it's worth mulliganing. I have a lot of good cards in my deck, and I didn't really draw any of them. Just a hand like this, where I get a Blightcaster plus a Suppression Bonds, seems far better for me. Ugh. That is going to be hard to beat. Well, that's actually not that good. I was going to say that that's pretty good because I can just kill it with Blightcaster, but he's probably going to equip it up at some point, so. He may throw the sword elsewhere, though. You never know. Yeah, it doesn't look like... I mean, he just wants to curve out here, which makes some sense. If he had a 2-drop, I'm sure he would play the Animus there, but he would equip the sword. Just because when you do attack with this and you get an extra land next turn, so even though you're spending 2 your mana this turn... Alright, so he bottomed both, right? Put a card on top, put a card on top. Okay, so he wants to draw lands at this point, which means that my opponent's probably got 3 spells in hand. Anyway, so spending 2 mana this turn to get 1 mana every single turn for the rest of the game is a pretty good deal. So my opponent did put both on top. Alright, there's the Void Mage that I was expecting. But, yeah, I mean, I could just get run over here. I don't really have a better option. And, I mean, I'll stabilize, sort of, next turn. Suppression Bonds plus Celestial Flare. There's actually a pretty good argument for me to... Ugh. That's bad. That's good. That's bad again. So do I want to even play the Celestial Flare and show it to him? What are my draws here that could allow me to win this game? So, yeah, I think that there's a non-zero chance that I could win the game. It involves playing. I mean, like if I just draw the Blood Curse Knight this turn, then I actually have a pretty good chance. If I draw another War Oracle, then I can just trade next turn. Alright, I'm dead. Alright, so we saw the Claustrophobia again, but we don't know if there's another one. I kind of just got beaten down that game, but I don't think that's going to be typical. I could bring in... I don't think I need to bring in Guardians. I wish I had some way to destroy artifacts, but alas. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, don't love the hand, but 2-drop on the play. Plus, I mean, if I draw a land, then I'm assured to get in. Plus, I have Sigil of Valor, which can help me get in. Then again, getting in Relic Seeker when I have Sigil of Valor in hand already isn't quite as good. But I also do have a healing hand, so if I draw a land, then I can cycle it and hopefully get to another land. Awesome. So what's the play here? I probably want to cycle the healing hands. Better than getting Sigil of Valor on board? Sure. He might not realize. So I think this is better than getting Sigil of Valor on board because it gives me a better chance to play War Oracle next turn. Did not get there. Okay, so here I think I'm just going to attack with Relic Seeker. I might give up a point of damage, but it plays around Bounding Krasis. I'm not sure if I want... I kind of want to trade here, though. Right? I've got Blightcaster, I've got War Oracle. Yeah, I'm just gonna... I mean, I just want to play Read the Bones here. So, because I really want to hit my land drop next turn. Or this turn, and next turn. That's not gonna work. Ugh. Alright. I think I still have to... Actually, maybe I just bottom this, because I do want to draw 2 lands to get to Cruel Revival. Well, there are my 2 lands. And I wish I had the Suppression Bonds. I'm not sure if the Suppression Bonds play was correct or not, but either way, we are where we are. Okay, so, I mean, this is going to be a long game, I think. So let's settle in. So I could play Sigil of Valor here. And tap... No, that's not going to do anything. I'm just going to play the War Oracle. I don't have another enchantment in hand, so I don't really want to be playing Blightcaster yet. Could just have killed that this turn. Put a card on top. Okay. So my opponent has missed land drops. Played another one, so that means that there was a land on top of their library last turn. And they drew it. I mean, I'm not saying anything revolutionary right now, but yeah, I think that I'm going to regret the Suppression Bonds play, but I'm not sure if it was wrong. It doesn't really matter much. There's a caterpillar. Alright, that's interesting. Why didn't I play this last turn? Alright, well I'm definitely going to play it now because I want my opponent to caterpillar the sigil so that the shadows can survive. Actually, I probably should have just played Blightcaster plus shadows last turn and killed the caterpillar. Yeah, let's do that. 3. Maybe I just kill the alpha though. Okay, let's think about my options here. Alpha is the most likely way that I lose this game right now, but if I do it this way, I mean I have another suppression bond so I can kill the alpha later. I think that this is the best way to just, it's kind of like getting extra value because, yeah, I think this is good. Man, I really need to kill that starfish. Next turn. It's too bad that it didn't work out in the way that I could activate shadows of the, or I could get a scry off shadows in the past from the Blightcaster. Alright, I mean I've got plenty of life here. And next turn I can kill the alpha, so I'll be alright. Plus I can start getting in with Sigil of Valor plus War Oracle for a bunch of damage. So I think next turn I'm just going to play Suppression Bonds on Starfish and shoot the alpha. But it depends on if and what my opponent does. Alright, spider. That's fine. It's actually pretty good for me. Do I want this plains? No. Alright, so regardless of what my opponent does here, if they block, then I get an extra scry off of shadows. If they just take it, they go down to 10, and my guy gets renown. There are a lot of good situations here. I think I agree with the play, but let's see, what did my opponent do? Put a card on bottom. Let's see, so next turn I'll probably just want to attack with this thing instead. So, move it here. Put a card on, another card on bottom. Dear God, I really need to kill that starfish. That's what I've been saying for the last 15 turns, but still. Alright, Claustrophobia to lock down War Oracle. Ooh. I think I want to do that. Negate. Alright. Still get to kill the Void Mage, so kind of get a 2-for-1 off that. I'll keep that. And now I can for sure attack with this thing, get in for probably not 6. He's probably just getting jump block, especially since I left the card on top. And we're in good shape now. Opponent's only got 1 card, obviously, or 2 cards now. And I have a lot of answers still, plus a lot of threats. Plus I'm at a really high life total. Alright, let's just do that. See what happens. See, put a card on top. Okay. Interesting. Hard to believe what can go on top here, but... Alright, I'm gonna attack... Maybe this is bad. Because if my opponent has Titanic Growth, then I should have played the Graveblade Marauder first. Either way, it's really, I guess it's not that bad for me if my opponent has Titanic Growth. Other than Displacement Wave, I don't really see, and that's not even really a reason to not play the Marauder out, so we'll just play it out. Yeah, I'm likely to attack with multiple creatures next turn, but whatever. I'm going to put a stop on my upkeep next turn, in case I want to Cruel Revival something at upkeep. Alright, managed to win the draft with that kind of deck. Definitely didn't see that being a 3-0, but had to win some really close games. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy, and let me know in the comment section to see if you actually like seeing me try and think and decide how to play with this kind of deck, or if there were any plays that you really disagreed on, especially I think in round 2, game 2, I had some really strange options and lines of play. Or was that round 1? Yeah, against the Fetid Imps, where I just didn't play any of my suppression bonds, and I'm not really sure if that was wrong or if that was actually just the right way to play it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful day. Bye.